Hello, it's Jeanette with Geo-Mazing Papercrafts. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with another video tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how I put together this little gift box. It's got a lacy top. Isn't that beautiful? And it's got some ribbon on it, and this ribbon has retired, but you can use pretty much any ribbon that you have. And of course I have a little gift tag here. And inside this box I have a little votive candle. This is one of the IKEA candles, and I looked at this color when I saw it when I went to IKEA, and I thought, Granny Apple Green. That's just like Granny Apple Green. And sure enough, it matches Granny Apple Green so close. And so that's what I decided to do, a little gift box using the new stitched lace dies and coordinating stamp set, a little lace. And I just stamped tone on tone with this little lace, and I'll show you how to do that. But to start out, you're going to need to make a lace, this lace top, and that's going to be the hardest thing. But I don't think it'll be too difficult for you. You'll start out with a sheet of Whisper White cardstock, or whatever color you decide to use, and you're going to take your lace die. This has two parts to it. It has the lace that you can cover a full sheet with lace, and then it has this die here where you can actually form it into little scallops. It's really, really pretty, and that's how I got these little scallops right here. Okay, so this piece measures 4.5 by 4.5, and what you're going to do with this die, and this is how I cut it. I line this up. It just goes a little bit beyond the die, and I did that for a reason, because if you do it precise, it's kind of hard to get your finger underneath it to lift it up, but you can do it, I'm sure. Going any smaller than this, you might have a hard time. So I'm just lining it up where I could see that first line of holes there, and then what I do is I just take a little piece of repositionable tape. You could use washi tape too, and then I'm going to take this to my Big Shot. And with my Big Shot, what I do is I take the plate that I don't put the blades against, and then I leave this with the blades upward, and then I put the cutting plate, the one that I always have the blades hitting, like this. So my sandwich is kind of like upside down. And then I also put a little shim and run that through, because that to me works out the best. And I'll run it through back and forth about three or four times, I guess. And so once you're done with that, what you get is this. But this doesn't have the scallops on it yet. So what you'll need to do is you need to take this scallop die and you need to line it up. And I'm lining it up so that I can see every scallop, all the holes for every scallop, and you'll be able to line it up quite easily. It lines up perfectly, and you're going to do that for all four sides. And then once you're done putting that through the Big Shot on all four sides, you're going to be left with this. And this has got 16, 4 times 4, 16 little scallops here. Okay, and now I'm going to take this to, I'm going to use my Simply Scored scoring tool. Have to get it out here to score this. Now, it's a little bit tricky, but I think you'll be able to get it. If you put it here, these little points here, the little points here, they fall between a score line, but you're going to need to score from this point all the way to that point. So you're going to need to line it up in one of the score lines. So what I do is I just push it right to the edge here, and then I move it over just so that that tip is right there following a score line, and the tip on this side too. And I'm going to take and be very, very gentle scoring this, and I mostly just kind of score in between the little holes. You'll see what I mean when you start to score. You're going to be between designs when you score, and I'm going to score all four sides And I'm not going to worry about scoring this very tip end right here, this very tip, because I'm going to be cutting that off. So we're going to do 4 sides, and just very gently with the smaller ball. You could use the bigger ball, but I found the smaller ball on the on this stylus is a little bit better for scoring. Okay, and I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, I have all 4 sides done. Now I'm going to fold it very gently. Okay, all the score lines I will fold, and you'll see that it's not that hard to do, folding these very gently. I'm not going to use my bone folder to fold these because I don't want to I don't want it to rip because I did that. I was a little too heavy handed and I ripped it, and I thought, oh, I got to start all over. And when you use this die, you're going to notice that there is a lot of little parts that you need to remove, and that's why I use this little die brush here, and that's a new attachment that you can purchase with it comes with 2 of these little cushy things, and so you just lay it down here and you just and get all your pieces off of it, and it works really well. And so when you see that you haven't got all your parts removed, you can use the other end. If you put this little pick tool on the other end, and then you can just poke out, and I did see one, now I can't find it, but you just poke out whatever's left. Okay, so let me put that away, and I'm going to bring out my paper snips, and I am going to go ahead and cut up this way like that, and then I'm going to just cut off this corner here, and I'm also going to cut that little flap off of here, so you're left with that. And I'm going to do that on all corners. Just cut up that, and you're pretty much going to cut that score line off and then wedge into it like that, and then go ahead and cut that little off, because if you leave that on, it's going to be hard to line up with the other thing. So when I'm folding it, I'm actually going to be lining things up so that this will match right here, and nobody's going to know. Okay, so I'm going to do that and finish cutting this up. Sorry about that. My camera started beeping that I needed new batteries, so I just switched out the batteries. Okay, so here's what you're going to be left with. Okay, 2 little wings on this side and that side, and then I'm not going to glue it until I've got the bottom box together, but pretty much you could use liquid glue, or you can use some snail adhesive, which I think I will do just for speed, but I've used liquid glue too, and that seems to hold pretty good. But the reason I don't want to put it together right now is because I want it to fit on top of the box perfectly. Okay, so let's start on the bottom. This bottom piece is Granny Apple Green cardstock, and it measures 7 1/8 by 7 1/8. And we're going to bring back the scoreboard, Simply Scored, and we are going to be scoring this 2 1/2 inches on all 4 sides. And I'm going to do that with the bigger ball. 2 1/2 inches all 4 sides. All right, and we are done. Okay, so now that I've got all my score lines done, I'm going to do some stamping on here, and I'm going to take this edge, this little decoration here, looks like an edge or border piece, and I have it on my H block, and I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green, And we're going to just ink it all up. And I need to do this, I don't know, I'll probably get my head in the way. And I'm sorry about the glare of the lamps. But I'm going to try to do this right in the center of each one. And don't worry that you're going off on the other pieces here. See, it's going to be like a tone on tone. And since the corner pieces are going to be hidden when you put the box together, it's still going to look really pretty. So I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, got all 4 sides with that stamp, and then I'm going to come in with this stamp right here, this little floral, and I am just going to, right above it, just kind of stamp it like that on all 4 sides, just to give it a little bit more decoration. Oops. You can use whatever stamps you want on here. This is just an idea. Okay, and now I'm going to close this up for now. And then I'm going to fold and burnish all my score lines. If I can locate my bone folder right here. Okay. Folding and burnishing. Now if you notice this little stamp that wasn't there before, it's because I have to film some of this over again because I forgot to do my stamping on the box. Just having a senior moment, and yes, I am fast approaching senior citizenship. Okay, when you have great grandchildren, you're pretty much a senior, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take this and I am going to start cutting up with my paper snips. I'm cutting up this score line here. Okay, and I'm going to slightly wedge into this corner piece. You can use bigger scissors. I think I probably used bigger scissors when I did that the first time. And then you're just going to cut a piece of that off like that. And then you're going to rotate it and do the same thing. And you'll do that on all 4 sides. Now you definitely want to keep your little scraps because these would make good leaves. Die cutting leaves or punching leaves out. Okay, I'm just going to put those to the side. Get rid of all that trash. And now I'm going to come in with my tear and tape. And I have a little block that I use to help me cut or tear. And I am just going to put tear and tape. Let me bring in my silicone craft sheet, just so that I don't get my my grid paper all full of sticky stuff. So I'm just going to turn it upside down where the design is showing, and we are going to just on the very edge of on the top, I'm just going to put a piece of tear and tape on all of the top edges. Now I've got all my tear and tape on. Let me put that away. And let me bring out my take your pick tool, and we are going to just remove the backer paper of this tear and tape. Now you can put as much adhesive as you like. I found that just a little adhesive on the top is going to work just fine. If you've gone over or over the edge, just kind of fold your tear and tape in on itself. Now I'm just going to match the fold with the edge of that paper, and we're going to push that down there, matching the fold. Okay, now my box is put together and it's ready to receive the lace. Now let's put some adhesive on the lace. Like I said, you can use liquid adhesive, or you can use snail adhesive. If you still have fast fuse, you can use some of that. I'm just going to go ahead, just for speed, I'm just going to go ahead and use some of my snail adhesive. Okay, now I am going to put 3 of these parts together, and I'm going to try very hard to match up the holes in the design together so that it looks like just one piece. See that? Matching it up like that. I'm going to do that on just 3 sides, and then I'll do the last piece while I have this over the bottom part. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And this last part might be a little tricky, but just be patient, take your time, and you'll do it right. Okay, so let me bring in this box, the bottom part, and I'm going to lay this down like that, making sure I've got all 4 corners tucked in really well. And let's just very carefully match up the designs. See, I am matching up the designs, or I'm trying to. All right, there we go. All right, now I've got that on there. Okay, still loose enough for you to take it off and put it back on, but it's a lot easier to put it on having part of it put together and then the rest of it when you've got it on the top. Okay, so let's put some ribbon on here. Now there's a lot of different ribbons you can put on. There's one that matches that I don't have. I'm just going to show it to you. It's Granny Apple Green, and it's the only Granny Apple Green that I see in the catalog right now. It's on page 174. It's the textured weave ribbon. If you're going with Granny Apple Green, it comes in other colors too, Gray Granite and Poppy Parade, but I don't have that green right now. What I'm going to use is some ribbon that I got for free during celebrations. It was very popular. I even forgot what it was called. It's an organza ribbon, and it only measures like 1/4 of an inch, and it is just so pretty. So I'm glad that I didn't use it up. And I have it right here in a little dispenser box that I made. The reason I made this dispenser box is my ribbons all over the place, and I like to just pull out my ribbon as much as I need, and when I wind it up, I don't want to have to tape it. I just wind it up like this. And I think in my next tutorial I will show you how I did that. And I just put it on my shelf, and whenever I need a ribbon, I can see what kind of ribbon it is. And all this really is just a fold over box with holes punched or die cut in the right places. Okay, but like I said, I'll do a video in the next couple of weeks to show you how easy it is to make one of these. So now I've got, let's see, how much do I need? Probably about that much. And we'll just cut it, roll it back in. I got a little glue dot on this thing where I can just press this down so that it doesn't try to unravel. Okay, we're putting that away. Now let's make a bow on top. Well, first, how about if we load this? Now I'm going to show you how difficult or easy it could be to put this back on. For me, it was not that hard. I thought I was going to have a harder time putting that back on, but it wasn't that hard. So you don't want the person that you give it to have a hard time putting it back on. So I'm going to attempt to make a bow with this little organza ribbon. Like I said, I'm going to attempt. Okay. And since it's got something in it now, it's kind of weighting itself down, and that's a good thing. And I am not really good at making bows that are attached to something. I can make a bow when it's not attached to something and it looks really pretty. I've got that down. But making a bow when it's attached to something is hard for me. And I try and practice and practice and practice, and eventually I'll get it. Okay, so we got that part done. Let's do a label for this. I'm going to take a piece of very vanilla, no, this isn't very vanilla, Whisper White cardstock, and I am going to use this design, this big design here. I'm going to go ahead and ink it up, but I'm going to stamp off. As you can see here, I did it once before. I'm going to stamp off because I want a second generation of color, which is going to be a little bit lighter. And we're going to stamp on our scrap piece, get some of that ink off, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp here on our piece of very Whisper White. I keep wanting to say very vanilla. It's Whisper White. And see, now we have a lighter version of that. You can see that. I know my lighting is a little bit bad here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take the sentiment, which is this one here. You'll always be my friend, right there. And I'm going to take this and ink it up. And I've got that one on block B. And I'm just going to go ahead and position this wherever I want it. And then I'm going to bring in this one is called the Timeless Label Punch. Okay, I'm going to bring that in, try to get some of that flower in there. And I'm going to punch. All right. Now, if I had a handheld punch, I would punch a little hole. But this is the way I'm going to do it, since I don't have one handy. I'm going to take that Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to find the center here and just kind of poke it through using my paper piercing mat, or my pierce mat. But it doesn't really make a very attractive hole. There's like a little fuzzies on the end. You can see that. So what I'm going to use is the Delightful Tag Topper Punch. It's got that little hole here. Let's open it up. It's got that little hole here. And if I just kind of feed it through, we're going to line it up with that hole. If you can see it, I'm trying to line it up perfectly in the center. Now you can make yourself a little tab to hold on to this, but I didn't do that. And I'm just going to punch that little hole there. It's probably not going to be in the center. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit off, but that's okay, and I think you get the picture. I actually have another one that I made over here. And I put some baker's twine on it. And I kind of got it a little higher up, and so it was I was able to get these little notches in it from this punch, and I thought that was kind of cute. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one. And like I said, I put some white baker's twine in there, and I looped it through and made a little knot. And now I'm just going to take my my little box here. I'm going to loop that through. Well, let me close this up before I get my hand on in it, and I will. It's an accident waiting to happen. Okay, let's loop this through like this. And now we have our little tag on the bow. Let's get the bow. Okay. There we go. Now we have a nice little gift. And what I really like about this lacy stuff, it's got the air holes. So this is like an apple scented candle, and I can smell it because I've got these air holes in there. So that's cute. You can make little gift boxes for people who sell soap. Isn't that a good idea? So anyway, here are my two little Granny Apple Green boxes, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you'll try this. You know, it's really a cute design, and it's pretty sturdy because we're using Stampin' Up's cardstock, which is heavyweight. I really love their cardstock. It's very quality stuff. So if you need any tools or supplies that I use in this video, please go to my website at www.geomazingpapercrafts.stampinup.net. I will be happy to be your demonstrator if you don't already have one. A list of all the tools and supplies that I use is going to be in the description of this video and also on my blog. So once again, I am Jeanette with Geo-Mazing Papercrafts, and you make it a great day. Bye-bye.